Hello. So this is our last and probably the most important video of the series. We are talking about interventions. We're talking about how to prevent burnout, and as the principle, prevention is always better than cure. So if you don't get into that particular problem, you don't need to worry about that problem. So we've already talked about the various causes, and the broad two categories are circumstantial, which is based upon the hospital or the workplace or the environment that you work in, and existential, which is how we could make the change in our own existence, if you like, or the issues that we could improve to improve the overall situation. In circumstantial issues, there are institutions that can participate by forming programs, mentorships, work wellness units, and the Fulfilled Institute is extremely happy to work with individuals and or institutions. So if you do have a issue that some of the colleagues are facing, do approach us, and we'll be very happy to establish a program for your institute. For individuals, it could be awareness. You don't know what you don't know. So reading about it, but we talked about the difficulty with it, attending courses like the one that you've done, or coaching. And this has been research proven that it does make a huge difference. And the evidence is from the Mayo Clinic programs. And what they have established is by forming work or institutional changes or programs like discussion groups, they've made a significant change in depersonalization, depression, employees finding meaning at work, trying to get rid of social isolation, as well as improving job satisfaction. And the results with emotional exhaustion was 14% improved results. The depersonalization was 4%, and overall there was 10%. Now that does not give a significantly high rates of satisfaction, but again, there's a lot of I don't need it type of approach that the physicians particularly use it, and it's mainly in the male physicians as compared to the females that is seen. As far as the existential changes that can be made through meditation, stress management, communication, and time management and skills, again, they are known to improve all these parameters quite nicely. So to talk about what circumstantial or institutional changes can be made, unfortunately I can't go into the details, but my 6-week course does go into significant details of what these programs can be. But what the institutions or the hospitals or the workplace or the teaching institutes or the universities or the schools could do is to have employee wellness as one of their core values, and promote that particular value. You could then sync those values with expectations that would be expected from the employees and hence the institution. If there was resource and workload imbalance, that can be balanced. Autonomy in a safe environment is very, very productive. Life-work balance is probably not the right word. There needs to be harmony. Every individual is slightly different. Some take work more seriously, some take family more seriously. One size does not fit all. And then finally, if there is a decent balance, employees, workers, physicians, teachers, school teachers, policemen, firefighters, entrepreneurs will get meaning at work, which is basically what we are trying to achieve. So work interventions are extremely important. I think employers have got a handle of this issue and are trying to do as much as they can. But I think this awareness needs to be driven by us individuals who can influence, if you like, the institutions and our leaders, because if they have other priorities, this may not intentionally, but it could be on the back burner. But if you were to push for it, I'm sure good leaders will basically take upon these tasks quite nicely, because a happy employee is a productive employee. A happy physician, it makes very many patients more happy. A policeman will keep the streets very safe. The teachers will create massively greatly successful individuals or entrepreneurs, and so on and so forth. Your work efficiency is extremely important, and demand resource imbalance is very important to address. Local discussion groups and improvement of local pathways, which is where Fulfilled Careers Institute can participate in, firstly assessing how the pathways are, secondly to discuss this with the workers group, i.e. could be physicians, or could be policemen, or could be teachers. Workload and a dialogue between the employee and the line manager, or the hospital, or the institution, or the director, or the head of the department, or the chief executive is going to be quite valid. And the institutions can label this requirement in their corporate policies based upon productivity targets, because a happy employee is a productive employee, and the institution helps the worker to remain happy by managing his or her workload. The productivity of the institution goes up. So that's the win-win type of situation. Efficiency. There's no point in sitting and sitting in your office for 5 hours and getting 5 minutes worth of work. Employees are human beings, and sometimes skills are lacking. Time management is an art and is very easy to learn. So one of our full day course on time management is virtually from managing your day right from the time you wake up until you go to bed. Planning, diarizing. It is quite important, and that is extremely valid from the institution's point of view, because institutions pay people per hour. So it's but natural that if the institutions are getting their money's worth and the employee is getting happiness or getting productivity or getting meaning out of it, it's again a win-win type of situation. Work-life harmony. Again, I did say that work-life harmony is more important term as compared to work-life balance. I don't think work-life balance works, and the reason I say that is I have several friends, and I'm sure you will resonate with what I'm talking about. There are some people who have an extremely happy life, but they spend more time at work as compared to at home. Now, let's not go into the reasoning why that happens, and I'm talking about the happy bunch. And there are some who are more family oriented, and they are more happier to be at home. Of course, not work, but the work time is slightly less as compared to the work time. So either way, these two most important aspects of life need to be in great harmony, and the individual needs to lead. The line manager or the your person who's looking after these type of things at work need to need to improve this understanding. Thinking about doing work in the evening times or off-hour work or counseling is extremely important. Now, these type of things can only work if there is a very healthy dialogue between the employee and the employer. So the institutions or organizations need to be equally involved. Autonomy. Resiliency brings safe autonomy. There's no point in giving significant autonomy to somebody who's going to who's not going to be safe. Let's be sensitive of the fact. So resiliency, which we'll talk about in the next few slides, is extremely important. And engaging the employee with his work, with his department, with the organization, with the outcome is extremely important. And that makes an employee or a physician or a police officer a safe person. And hence we can give safe autonomy to that individual. How do you bring meaning? Now, positive psychology, positive thinking, behavior styles and coaching are extremely important. You would never see a footballer or a cricketer or a tennis player who basically says, you know what, I think I want to go and play. And he goes and knocks a few balls or plays five-a-side or whatever be the case, and then suddenly 2 months later says, okay, I'm going to apply to the academy. And they open him and bring him on with broad arms, and this guy goes, smashes the games and achieves and becomes a great footballer or great cricketer or great tennis player. Now, there might be exceptions, but that's not the norm. The norm is that you identify what you want to do and identify a coach who is happy to strategize your goals, because goal setting is extremely important in our 6-week coaching program. And I'm sorry I bring it back, because this is a mini course. The bigger course virtually includes all of these ones. In the big course, goal setting is a topic on itself. And these need to be smart goals. A goal needs to be a smart goal, otherwise you're not going to achieve it. Okay? So coaching to strategize, coaching to make a person accountable, and hence a coach to set the goal with the help of the client is extremely valuable. And that's basically what sets apart somebody who is usually successful as compared to somebody who's just beating around the bush. And I was in that particular situation, wherein prior to me having coaching, particularly this particular program that I've put together, my coaches have a significantly bigger hand in me trying to get my course to fulfillment. So I think coaching is a fantastically important resource if somebody needs it. How do the institutions or organizations help? Yeah, they can organize coaches, they can organize protected time, and build a coaching practice into the institution. They can have coaches that are employed, or coaches or employed partners who have an interest in coaching. So that's quite important as well. So we talked about resilience. So what is resilience? Resilience is the ability of anybody to identify if a catastrophic issue is coming, or a complication is coming, or an adversity is coming, or a untoward incident is coming, or a problem behavior is coming. So to identify the problem, if the problem is there, to deal with it in a safe manner so that the outcome is good, to be strong in the presence of that calamity. There's no point in a person identifying the calamity and completely succumbing to it, because that would truly crumble the environment, and that would not be a happy situation to be in. To treat it fairly, a complication or a disastrous situation needs to be handled properly, triaged properly, and then perhaps after doing all of these type of things, to prevent it. And that's resilience. So to identify it, to deal with it, to be strong in the presence of that calamity, to treat it and to prevent it. If an individual, and this could be any catastrophe, any complication, any issue, any problem, and if you were stable enough, you could be labeled as resilient. Sorry, my doggy's arrived. He's going to say hello to you. Okay, so sorry about that. Yeah, okay. So yeah, that's resilience. Now, resilience can be divided into a few groups, if you like, or characteristics. Cognitive, physical, emotional, and spiritual. Now, what gives a person cognitive resilience? As we talked about in the previous slide, you identify the problem, you deal with it, you remain strong, you treat it, and you prevent it. And if you do that, that's a skill that again can be learned through coaching programs, through courses, and you can become resilient in that particular field, if you like. Physical resilience. There are programs to make you physically resilient so that you remain happy, healthy, and you are protecting your well-being, if you like. Emotional resilience, so that you are a family person and you're happy with what you do. And finally, spiritual resilience, which is the higher meaning, or the altruistic disposition, if you like. There are plenty of wellness methodologies that one could identify and incorporate into their personal as well as work life. Exercising is probably the most cheapest and easiest methodology of staying well and breaking, if you like, your stress cycle. A me time. My personal opinion is early in the morning. I'm an early riser. I wake up at about 4:30, and I spend about an hour, 2 hours and a half in the morning, and nobody can come into that space. That's me. That's my time. I have an appointment with myself, and that's diarized. Okay, so when I wake up, I have to be up by 4:30. So when I wake up, the first thing I do is brush, get ready, go to the gym. I've got a makeshift something at home. Go to the gym, do my cardio for about 20 minutes. Do the rest of my exercise. So usually about 40-minute session every day. Bar Sunday. Sunday, I'm a lazy man. No, I don't do anything on Sunday. That's my relaxation time, if you like. So 6 days a week. After exercise, I get ready, do my shower, have a look at my diary, familiarize myself with what is going to happen for that particular day, and then get on with it. So that is my me time sorted. Again, that's a small part of my me time, which is basically just the wellness related me time, so that I remain healthy. Time with your partner, time with your spouse, time with your friends. It is quite required. We are all social animals, and staying aloof and not being part of the clan, the tribe, the society, is going to make you mad. Relationships are extremely important. Time does not wait for anybody. And if you have healthy relationships, and those relationships could be relationship with your wife, with your spouse, with your partner, with your children, with your mother, with your father, with your sister, with your brother, with your boss, with your colleague, with your employee. A relationship, if it is healthy, will bring a massive amount of meaning and massive amount of wellness. You'll be a happy person. Recreation. You need to have quite a few times, I'm sure you'd resonate with that, quite a few times. Most of the healthcare practitioners have absolutely no recreational sporting activity that they undertake until they think about retiring, or perhaps after they retire. What a boring life. Yeah? So think about that one. Meditation. Now, meditation started in ancient Buddhist times, or even kind of prior to that, and it is quite interesting. The whole world is basically now jumping up and down with the joy of meditation. It has become more than $1 billion business. Now, I suspect there is some truth in it. group of sages who believe that meditation would make a person a balanced human being, help one to get rid of anger, greed, obsession, hatred, jealousy, sensual pleasure, shame, ego, get your identity, and essentially make somebody a balanced person. The sun is absolutely happy and smiling. It is 7 o'clock in the morning, in fact, here in sunny Birmingham, and in fact, let me, in the last video, say why I thought I initially started shooting these videos in my office, which was making me record these videos in a very formal fashion. And there's a coaching colleague of mine called Coach Lippy, who was quite pivotal in kind of changing that behavior of mine, in saying, hang on, you are really formalizing this particular environment. Throw that coat out, get out of the tie, go into the nature. And I'll tell you, I think I feel great. I feel very relaxed. I feel very happy in kind of shooting these videos and doing my PowerPoint presentations in a very natural fashion. So I think some of the videos come with a bit of breeze in the background. So apologize, but I wanted to keep it more informal, so that I don't cause death by PowerPoint. Anyway, coming back to the last couple of slides. So self-awareness, awareness of the present moment is what meditation would train one to do, and what that does is it allows us to focus on what we want to focus. And just to give you the gist of what and how I do meditate while I'm washing hands, or when I'm meditating in the morning, is I just say to my mind to not wander. And what you are doing is you are virtually telling your mind to go where you want it to go. So if I am thinking about meditating through, say for argument's sake, washing hands, I am just washing hands and doing nothing else. So self-awareness strategy. Self-awareness is to be aware of the present moment, and that is what meditation teaches human beings. To try to monitor and control our mind to focus on something that we want to focus on is what meditation teaches us, to become self-aware of the present and not to dwell on the past. It will train your ability to focus and remain intentionally focused on what we intend to focus on. It happens quite often that you're reading a book and halfway down the page you realize that your mind has wandered off and you don't know exactly what you've read, which is one of the reasons why when we read the second time the same page we get much more than what we got the first time around. And that's basically because our mind wanders off very, very frequently, and to train to focus is an art that can be learned through meditation and mindfulness. Financial health is extremely important, and that can revolve around finances related to your house, to kids, whether they are state trained or private school educated, your insurance situation with regards to life insurance or indemnity or professional insurance or private healthcare or funeral arrangements. All of them make one aware of the requirement, the needs of the family at any given time. Retirement plans are quite vital as well. We had a retirement plan talk when I think I was about 40, and I think it was great because it was quite early at 40 to think about retirement, but it did allow me to set some smart goals for me, which I had a D-Day in 5 years, which was at 45. I had put things in place according to what I would want my retirement to look like, and things are going absolutely well. So planning always helps. Now, quite a few times we start our career deep in debt because of our education, and there's nothing one can do about it. But to make matters worse, having I know it all, I can manage it, I'm a doctor, I'm a healthcare professional, nobody can teach me, is it's a very, very wrong attitude, and particularly is very commonly seen in healthcare professionals. 1 in 10 physicians would have a financial planner. The rest of them will invest or not based upon their own whims and fancies. One of the syndrome that is very commonly seen in healthcare professionals, particularly physicians, is a sense of delayed gratification. They've worked very hard through their schooling, their unis, their colleges, and the moment they get out as a consultant or a specialist or a GP or a job that you reach as your destination, you kind of say, fantastic, I'm going to get the best of the car or the house, which would be stretched to the maximum as far as my borrowing capacity is concerned. And that was exactly what my my mentor, while I was doing my fellowship, advised me. Of course, he was not a financial planner, but yeah, free advice is available, very, very often, and that's the worst thing one can do. Of course, I didn't follow that advice, thank God. But buying something or getting something much more than what you can afford is the worst thing one can do, and that just basically complicates issues, because debt can cause overwhelm, can cause one to work more than one needs to work, because every human being after work needs a bit of phase of relaxation. Now, there's no point in increase more hours to earn more money to pay off your debts as compared to working more to make more patients happy and to meet your target. That's entirely different thing. That's a very healthy situation to be in, and working more with financial goals in mind reduces job satisfaction, increases risk of burnout, and that's where workload and lack of control and situations basically happen. And increasingly working more to improve patient outcomes or to increase the throughput to help more patients is absolutely fine, and quite a few do it, which is very, very healthy. But to work more to manage badly accrued debt is something that reduces the satisfaction and increase the chances of burnout, because that also reduces the time that you could spend in relaxing or with your family. So that methodology is not great. One's choices, values, and needs is what would define meaning. The American psychologist talks about deeper concentration giving you motivation and satisfaction. Job satisfaction will also be defined by how happy you are at work, how anxious you are at work while you're doing what you do. Your skill set, your experience, your boredom is also defined. And all of these items make the definition of meaning quite important. Resilience also can be defined or improved by training interpretation of how one interprets the situations. So gratitude is extremely important at work and in normal lives, and just a pat on one's back is required because we are all human beings. And if we have achieved a target, one needs to be appreciated. And that could be your junior colleague, your senior colleague, your child, your spouse. Gratitude is a very important aspect of staying stable and resilient. Compassion is a must in a frontline occupation. Accepting and forgiving incidences or human beings who have hurt you in the past is a skill I learned through coaching, and it makes you quite happy. It is very difficult to do it, but once done, it virtually defines the meaning of life. To quote the Academy of Medicine, they define values and they talk about human traits and to identify them. So we won't go into the depth of what can be done, but in our coaching sessions, and particularly if you have never had coaching before, I would humbly recommend that write to us. We'll give you your first free coaching. That's basically the Fulfilled Career Institutes and my give back to the community, if you like, is through the free coaching. We would help you to identify your trait. This would be for a limited first 20 that we would. This would be done completely free of charge. We would get you to do. There are 5 parameters which define the way a human behavior or your behavior is. Your values are, your traits are, your thinkings are, your attributes are, and it is absolutely mind-boggling. I mean, it is life-changing, and that certainly was how I looked upon it when I was exposed to this particular technology. So we would, for the first 20 who approach us for free coaching, we would run these parameters on you. It's an online resource, and then we will basically coach you on the set targets, if you like, and to identify your trait as a balanced person, a balanced professional to begin with, a balanced human being at the end. So if you were a balanced professional, you are a balanced leader, a balanced colleague, a balanced team player, a balanced leader, a balanced clinician, and you carry yourself extremely well in your workplace. A balanced family person would be somebody who would be a balanced father, a balanced husband, a balanced wife, a balanced friend, a balanced family person. And when you combine the balanced professional with your balanced human being, it is my opinion, you become a balanced human being. And that's basically what I tell my kids, is to, rather than earning money or defining your success based upon what you're going to be. Being a balanced human being is more important. My son is aspired, in fact the eldest son, elder is a son and the younger one is a daughter, so the son aspired to be a doctor. He wanted to follow my footsteps and achieved his grades and did his electives and volunteering work and all of that, and then suddenly post GCSE while studying, he said, "Dad, no, I think I want to do something else." And I said, "Go ahead, follow your passion." No, I'm having my Indian background, being a doctor, I think the worst thing I could have done is to have forced my son to say, "No, you've got to do medicine." He is so happy in what he's doing. He's doing a real estate career, real estate degree, and is finishing off, and is so passionate that I think that is the best decision ever. My daughter is in medicine. She loves it. Very stable lady. She loves it. And the trait that I ask them to become is to be a balanced human being. To assess the norm is extremely important, and goal setting is again an art which can be learnt. Goals need to be SMART goals. We will talk about SMART goals in the 6-week program. And I would say help is available when help is required, so ask for it. We are the victims of our own success. We heal human bodies, yes. We, in healthcare, help people to repair themselves. As teachers, you construct human beings. As police officers, you protect us. As firefighters, you're keeping us alive in a catastrophic situation. But when you yourself need help, with coronavirus, it is absolutely vital that if there was stress levels or feeling of overwhelm or the catastrophic trail that it has left behind, that every frontline worker is going to be pushed for what they have experienced while they were working, and they are still continuing to work. And if that help was available, ask for it. The amount of people who die without asking for help because they just don't want to ask for help is significant. When help is required, ask for help. It is very known for healthcare workers to provide the maximum amount of help available from their personal self for their patients, for their clients, for the society that they're looking after. But when it comes to looking after their own self, no, there's no time for it. That is scandalous. This is one of the major reasons why the amount of suicide that is seen in physicians and other healthcare workers is rising. Help is available. If you were to need it, ask for it. It can be a game changer. To reassess the situation is also quite important. At this point in time, we are in such a unpredictable time, unprecedented time, that nobody knows exactly what's going to happen. Healthcare workers were stressed to begin with. COVID and the aftermath that it has left behind, the experience that the healthcare workers have gone through in treating patients while the patients were suffering with COVID has stressed them out, and literature around the globe suggests that the burnout incidence just because of COVID is going to rise. So it is quite important for us to understand the situation. We are human beings, we do have empathy, we do have compassion, but when we are stretched beyond imagination, and when we see so much of loss of life and emotion and things that we can do and things that we couldn't do. I mean, people who were on the front line, who were able to help and save people, would absolutely be overwhelmed. But there are people who potentially might not have been that lucky, or they saw loss of life, or they saw the tragedy that the death of a person or people left behind, and how the family suffers. And if the incidence of that was significant, there is a very high likelihood that that could be an emotion which could stay with you for a wee bit longer. It is these unprecedented times that we need to anticipate that our stress relaxation will need to be looked after, because if it is not looked after, it will overwhelm us, and in spite of the best will in the world, we might not be able to offer what we want to offer our very people that we provide the health and care to and for. It is the last video, and in fact the very last section of the whole course. It is my humble request that try coaching, try education, try courses. Don't use us, use somebody else, but understand the problem that you may be going through. It is vital that if you were completely stable, you don't need to have any problems at all. But if there were issues that you are facing with, pick us a line. We'll be very happy to run a free session with you. It'll be comprised of a combination of strategy and accountability. We assess the trait. I can assure you that you'd be stunned. I can assure you that just the free coaching session itself could be an eye-opening session. Of course, you need to be open-minded. Of course, you need to have a willingness to change, without which it's a waste of time anyway. But if you have the willingness to change, if you do have a open-minded approach, and if you feel that you would like to be in a better situation than what you find yourself in at this point in time, do yourself a favor. Contact us for free coaching sessions. This is a payback we are doing to the community. The first 20 will be given the free coaching sessions. This will comprise of a significantly pricey resource that we would allow you to use, followed by we doing the assessments on yourself, and we will do accountability as well as strategy coaching, and hopefully the outcome would be something that you would you would feel, goodness me, why didn't I have this before? And I keep saying this because I have several people who have expressed their gratitude towards us when they have gone through this coaching. So thank you very much for being so patient. Thank you very much for listening to this course. I hope that you have a successful and a fulfilled career, which is full of energy and motivation and happiness. I feel I hope that you have a blissed life. If we do stumble across each other at some stage in the future, that'll be great. If you want to try some of our courses or the live courses or retreats, send us an email at admin@fulfilledcareers.com. You'll find the link below the video, and best of luck. Thank you very much. Goodbye.